Hello, how are you? I welcome you today to our tutorial, which will go through physics concepts on the topics that we've learned in class, such as densities for grade 10 and length for Form 1. So please, as you prepare for your tests, add this video to your study list. It will help you to remember all the concepts that we've done in class. I'm Sir Fredrick.Jr. and this is the tutorial video. Hi Form 1s, let's do some calculations on what? On length. So you should always know that length is a physical quantity, okay? And from what we learned in class, you and I agreed that length is the distance between 2 points. If you want, you can say the distance from point A to point B. You still be okay. Then a symbol for length, it is just L. We just use L. Okay, just use L. Then the SI unit of length is meters. Okay, it's meters, and the symbol for meter is small m. Then other units of length include centimeters, okay, millimeters. Let me follow the order. Okay, so centimeters, meters we've already said. Then we have kilometers, as well as sometimes also miles. Okay, but at your level you need to have a skill of converting units from these, okay, and going to what? To meters. And we've learned that before, we've done that already. Okay, so not in this video, we'll not focus on that. So we go to another aspect. So what instruments do we use to measure length? So instruments, of course, in class we agreed that instruments that we use, there's meter rule. There's also measuring tape. Okay, so meter rule is able to measure lengths that are not that are below 100 centimeter. Then measuring tape is an instrument you can use to measure lengths such as the football pitch or field. Okay, yeah, you can use these longer lengths. The suitable instrument to use is measuring tape. All right, so let's quickly discuss how we can use a ruler to measure the length. So first of all, you should know that the correct use of ruler must be like this. Okay, so if that is my ruler and the object that I'm measuring, say, you should always place the object on the zero edge of the object, the zero edge. Okay, oops. So if we have this scenario, we have two pupils. I'll just pick the names randomly, like you can see. So we have Michael reading the length of this plank placed on the meter rule from this angle, as we can see, from this angle. Michael is standing this side and is reading it from this angle. Okay, then we have Harrington reading the length of this object from this angle as well. He's standing at a certain angle. Okay, let me try to put it somewhere here. Okay, so then we have Chisepo standing here. Okay, so Chisepo is here vertically and reading from this point. Okay, then these three people, they are going to have their measurement. Okay, and just to correct that properly, so he has pressed his eye somewhere here. Okay, so we have Michael this side. Okay, so these two, they're going to have read. For example, let's say Michael is reading this to be 1.4 centimeter. Then Chisepo is reading as 1.5 centimeter. Then Harrington also, she's reading this as 1.3, depending on the angle she's standing from. So the question is that between these three individuals, who is correct here? And justify your answer. Of course, from the concept that we learned in class, we know that when you are reading anything using a meter rule, you press your eyes vertically to where it is ending. So Chisepo, among these three, is the only person who is going to give the correct reading. Why? Because he's standing vertically to the object and press the eye on the what? On the object. So this one is a correct position, while when you are standing here, you have a wrong positions. Okay, even this side is also wrong position. Why do we need to stand vertically? So this is the correct position. Why do we want to stand on the correct position when we are reading this? We avoid what we call parallax errors. So parallax errors is the error that comes because of having two medium. As you are looking on the ruler, there might be also after the ruler surface, there might be also air surface. So this difference in the light as it moves from these two medium, you could have parallax error. So parallax errors are error that comes when you are not standing at a correct angle when you are reading from the ruler. So we always want to be sure when we are reading, and you should always press your object from what? From the zero edge. This one is also called a zero error. Okay, so you always put your object on the zero. There's no at point when you're having a normal ruler, you press your object on the different mark, you are going to have wrong readings. So you always press it on the zero edge. Now what if you only have a broken ruler? Because sometimes you people, sometimes you like eating rulers, you break them, and accidentally you just break your ruler. But how can you come up with accurate measurement? let's discuss this one. So broken rulers. So the first thing before we could start handling this, you must know that broken rulers have no zero error because it has been broken. So which one becomes the zero error? Is the mark that is appearing after the broken. Any mark becomes a zero error. Okay, so you will not press the object on the zero error because you don't have it, has been broken. So you begin from where it is started from. That will be your zero error. Okay, then the second thing, this zero error is actually your initial mark or initial reading. Then where the object ends, for example, this object is ending here. Okay, so our zero error in this object is just where it started from. Okay, so our initial mark or zero error is just 3 centimeters. Then where it is ending there, which is 4. So final mark will be 4 centimeters. Then the actual length, how are you going to solve the actual length? So the actual length of this object will be calculated by final is equal to final mark minus initial mark. Okay, so our final mark is just 4 minus 3 centimeters. Okay, so our actual length of this object being measured, it will be just what? It will be just 1 centimeter. We are done, just like that. So always know that. Okay, or among the two, sometimes we might not give you a diagram like that, but we can just tell you that the object was measured between 4.2 and 6.3. so if 4.2, that is our initial mark, then 6.4 is our final mark. So you need to subtract 6.4, you take away 4.2 though, so this will be just 2.2 centimeters. This is how you'll be handling these problems. Okay, so we have the B part. You can pause the video and try it. Okay, so let me create space for second question. Okay, I'll put it right there. So what is our initial mark? So this time around I'll call it xi initial. So initial mark, I know that before 7 centimeter there was 6 centimeter which was broken somewhere there, it's not showing. So, and we know that each centimeter must have 10 millimeters between. So from here, from 7 I should have 10 millimeters between to reach 8. So that's what is happening here. So now the previous one that are not seen there, so we'll begin with 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.7. Okay, so this will be 3.7 here. Okay, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, and we have 7 here. So where is the object starting from? So the object started from what? Started from 6.7. So my xi of initial mark is 6 is just 6.7 centimeters, because this 3 will reach me to 7. Then x final, or final mark, is just 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5 here. So where is it ending? It is just 8.3 centimeters. So our final mark, our actual length of our object, will be calculated by subtracting. So you say x final, which is minus xi, which is initial. So 8.3 minus 6.7. What do we get here? So it just give us 1.6 centimeters. So this is the length of this object. So that's the principle. You'll be always subtracting from the final mark minus initial mark. That's what you'll be doing. So here we have a situation question. In the village of Unchelenge, district Luapula province, Zambia, farmers discovered a snake locally known as Ngosherupola. In English, it is called king cobra, while working in the field. So the snake was taken to the physics laboratory at Unchelenge Secondary School for the measurement of its length. So the measurement was conducted using a broken ruler as shown. So we have that broken ruler. You can please go ahead and try to find the actual length of this snake. So the question is, what is the actual length? The actual length of or what is just the length of this snake? As usual, initial mark is, what do we read there? We have definitely this is 4. From whatever we have here, this is 4. So the previous mark this side is 3. Okay, so it will be, if we imagine, it will be 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6. okay, that's a mark that is there. So now we continue. So 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9. okay, so meaning, where is the object starting? This snake is starting from 3.7. so our initial is 3.7 centimeters. Then we go to the final mark. So the final mark, we'll pick 6, then 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. This is where it is ending. So our final mark is just 6.3 centimeter. So our actual length of this snake will be final mark minus initial mark. Okay, so final mark is just 6.3 centimeters minus 3.7 centimeters. So what do we get? It just gives us 2.6 centimeter long. Okay, so this is how the snake was. This is the actual length of the snake. The snake was 2.6 centimeter long. All right, so this is how you will be handling the questions under this ruler, broken rulers. Okay, I hope it will help. Thank you.